In Igbo culture, the masquerade Mmanwu embodies the spirit and human worlds. The mystic surrounding the masquerade is one of the key components of the Igbo culture that survived Western influences. Each masquerade possesses particular attributes such as warrior-like powers, mystical powers, youthfulness and old age, and specializes in one or more skills such as dancing skills, acrobatics, and other ritual manifestations. As part of its commitment to preserve the cherished culture and traditions of Umudiana community, the trustees of Okwomma Museum Foundation celebrated the handover of Okwomma masquerade statue to Umudiana community on July 11, 2024. The event was held along Umudiana Road, Umudiana Amikwo, Oka, Anambra State. The image and mental imagery of Okwomma are built around the physical manifestation of the spirit entity known as Mmanwu Okwomma. He is an awe-inspiring masquerade, huge in height and sturdy in size. On his horrifying head are 4 adjoining animal horns and a minotaur sprouting from the middle. On the broad blazing face are 2 unblinking eyeballs and gaping wide mouth, displaying very dangerous fangs. The skins are scaly down to the limbs, and around the waist it wears 2 symbolic belts that represent a python and a boar. Due to his destructive inclinations, a strong rope is anchored around his waist, and a strong man is assigned the duty of pulling at the rope to restrain the excesses of the spirit. Mmanwu Okwomma performs both sacerdotal and entertainment roles. This Okwomma masquerade statue is erected on the grounds of the Umudiana Masquerade House.
In Oka, we have 33 villages, and those 33 villages have things for which they are known. And where we are, the Umudiana, the present exact space we are occupying now is where they had the masquerade house, and they've always been into masquerades. And the last very major event was the Okwomma masquerade, which came out in 1972. The mask is still in the museum, preserved for over 50 years, and so we decided to mark the exact point by erecting this statue.
Marks, gongs, also known as ogene, of the various Umudiana masquerades were kept in that house.
It is a remembrancer. The people are known for having very strong cultural ties, and the masquerade is one of the ways they exhibit that cultural tie. So for generations unborn, they'll get the history of what the community was about. And even for those who are here, there's a gentleman here, he's about 80 years old, and he was part of the group that brought out this masquerade in 1972. So it's a continuum, so to say. There will always be memories of, the cultural aspect, or this cultural aspect of the community. Summary, by way of summary, when you talk of masquerades, right, there are various classes and hierarchies of masquerades. If you go to the Bigan Memorial Seminary, which is a Catholic training place for priests, there is a week they have for cultural activities, and they have masquerades, fine. Even among the masquerades, there is something we call the Okwomma, which also represents the female aspect of society. So it's a function of what hierarchy. But definitely there are masquerades that come out at night that women are not supposed to see and so on. So it's a function of what masquerade you're talking about. In this particular instance, there is nothing stopping any woman to stand by, take photographs and so on and so forth. Even our major cultural activity, which is the Imoka, there's a segment of it. The first segment is anchored by women, people we call Ezenwine, people traditionalists who don't go to church. So women are not exactly totally exempt from all these things.
Yeah, the story behind this edifice is what they call a real human story. This masquerade mounted here, our people in 1972, my father was part of it. They kind of had it in our village. It was a real history then. Today, after that, everybody have forgotten about it. But Okwomma Museum Foundation today, at least, has made us remember something like that. To remember that there was a country that something like this happened years back, as far back as 1972. So we appreciate that, and the kind of history and the kind of an attraction for Umudiana and the villages behind Umudiana and villages around Umudiana and Oka in totality. So it's really a real history here. One, this will bring a peace in this community. At least it reminds us that there was a time our forefathers, because if there was no peace then they will not have something like this. There are about 30 to 40 guys that did it then. Now at least is a continuity of peace in terms of that side. Then the other side, this has a kind of cultural value to Umudiana, and not only Umudiana here, Umudiana and diaspora, because not all of us are here. So in abroad, whatever that comes by, they come here at least visit such. Oh wow, we have such thing here. So I think the edifice will be there to generation yet unborn. They will also benefit from that. If you go to museum is there to showcase old things, to showcase historical things. It's almost something like museum. It's free for women, white, blacks, young, new baby. It's just there.
One of the marks used during the last performance in 1972 was found, restored, and is now exhibited in the Oka Museum Foundation. The Okwomma masquerade represents the community's rich cultural heritage and traditions. The performance of the Okwomma masquerade is accompanied by traditional music and dance, which adds to its cultural significance.
This is an art structure, right? That will educate the people, the community, the children to come. I know that this will be in place for years to come. It has a historical value, and primarily, it's something that will unify the community. We all have a common goal, okay? And we know that with this structure here, people are going to build on it and help other people. And what you're going to see that it's not just us. It's a we structure whereby other community, other villages will emulate from this and learn and grow with it. First of all, it had a historical value in 1972, and we had the same masquerade live. There was a ceremony about it, a dancing. This was about 72, I think. Thereafter, it kind of fizzled out, right? And so, with time, some of us growing up felt the need to bring this masquerade back to life. And there's a gentleman here, an architect, by the name of Patrick Uyaune, who consulted with the chairman, Mr. Arthur Harris Eze, that there's a need for such structure in Amihu. So what I then did down the line about 3 years ago is to now resurrect that same masquerade. So I helped the village to build one, which they're using currently. So it's something that we feel will bring value and peace amongst ourselves. There was a lot of misconception. People, you find outsiders coming here taking pictures and that kind of thing. So there's will be a lasting memory for this structure here.
The purpose of erecting this masquerade statue is to preserve the Okwomma masquerade tradition, including documentation and training of younger generations.
Oka Museum Foundation, they've done something great to project the culture of Oka and Umudiana village in particular to the world. It's a great achievement that has been made today. Umudiana have had a masquerade that they were known for in the whole of Oka, because masquerade signifies the cultural value that people attach to their belief. A masquerade can only perform when invited or for occasions. all the 33 villages in Oka here have a sort of masquerade that they are known for. They are very popular. The masquerade becomes a symbol of cultural value of the people. Like Umudiana had Agaba, what the masquerade we call Agaba from 1972. But along the line, that masquerade have not been performing because of age, maybe. I cannot go deeper to tell you how a masquerade becomes aged and cannot. So the Oka Museum Foundation actually resurrected that almost forgotten, culture of theirs of having a masquerade of which they are identified with. So I give a lot of kudos to Oka Museum Foundation for making this edifice, a metamorphose, to give us a new lease of life, the pride that if Umudiana is invited for an occasion to come out with what they know, they will come out with this masquerade, exactly a replica of this edifice. And this one, as you must have noticed, is a different kind of masquerade that is for fun. There's no string tied. There's no spiritual inclination that is attached to this masquerade. We call it Okwomma, Umudiana.
The Okwomma masquerade statue is a tourist attraction site which will attract visitors drawn to its cultural significance and aesthetic appeal. This edifice was built and designed by a team of professional sculptors who worked tirelessly day and night to ensure the success and beauty of the statue.
Our main target was to, first of all, we have a challenge before the work. So our main target was on the material to use, like my colleague said the other time. So at the end of the day, we were able to come up with an idea to do the sculpture with a concrete. We thought about using metal, thought about using fiber, the one that will bring out the work very well. No, we used that's what we call armature. We have to create the armature. That's what we carry the concrete. But it's the processes. So, but the most important thing is concrete. On the head of the masquerade, there's a lot of things there. Yeah. There is some ones we used metal to create it. Yes. So the people that contracted the works, what they have in mind is to have a monument that will depict a masquerade from Umudiana here in Oka. The masquerade is no longer in existence though, so they said let's do a sculpture of the masquerade so that in years to come people of Umudiana will know they have such masquerade in existence before. So I think that's the most aim of the project. It's pure talent and it's pure art. We did it in a studio. After the work, we have to take it to this place for the mountain. So there's nothing like that. When we brought the work, so we didn't mount it immediately because there is a road construction that was going on then. So we kept the work here. So some people were, normally people will be saying a lot of things. Why will they bring masquerade here instead of to do this, to do that? So why are they bringing masquerade? Because they see it as date or something like that. But it's not it. You understand? So definitely people must talk. You understand? So people see it or view it in different perspective. It's a cultural thing. It's nothing to do with deity or anything. So that's the thing.
The people of Umudiana community were happy with this latest development and appreciated the trustees of Awka Museum Foundation for their continuous and immense support in upholding and preserving cultural values and tradition. The Okwomma masquerade statue is an important part of the Umudiana community's identity and cultural heritage, and its continued preservation and performance are essential for maintaining the community's traditions and customs.